welcome to our shop here at NTD Racing. Tomorrow we are driving out the door. We're going to the Mint 400, so I'm going to give you a walk around the shop, kind of show you some of the logistics that go along with setting up for a race. And this time I'm doing it all by myself. Maybe not the best idea. Usually if we're doing the Baja 1000, we'll have about 20 people here help me out with all this stuff, but I'm going through and getting everything organized. So let me show you what we're doing. Obviously, we always have some business beforehand. Like and subscribe, all that stuff, please. And then also in the Mint 400, we're also competing in the Military Challenge. If you don't know what that is, please go to our website at ntdracing.com. Scroll down until you see the Folds of Honor logo. Right below that is a button that says donate now. When you click on that, you don't have to donate, but you can see what it's all about. And we're asking for your lunch money, maybe a couple bucks or something like that, to go to some very deserving families. One more really cool thing, check this out. The Hobby Town from Richmond, Virginia is also supporting us in our efforts to help Folds of Honor, and they have made a mini version of Honcho, and it is killer. So we are having an auction to auction off mini Honcho and then also another Losi trophy truck. The website for the auction is linked below. Every bit of the money goes to Folds of Honor. It really helps out some deserving families, and we sure would appreciate your help. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the walk around, show you what we're doing. Okay, here goes the one-take walkthrough, a little bit of the shop tour here, but also just let me show you what we're doing in the shop. This is Lefty, our new truck. It's a Ford Raptor trophy truck body. It's going to go on the Milestar Patagonia Mud Terrain Black Label tires. Again, I love these things. 40 13.5 R17s on steel wheels, which that's what we use just because they're pretty durable and they're super cheap. Anyway, it's a wood chassis right now. I showed in the last video how I put all this together, and the reason I'm doing that is just so that I can dimension everything as I start to build the custom chassis underneath this thing. The engine for that right over here, this is a L96 engine. I'm working on the wiring right now. Again, I had a video of how I pulled this thing out. And then the rest of the parts are off of either a 2013 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD or a 2010, same model. But we got the brakes, the hub, bearings, and all those kinds of things ready to start building out that truck, which we will be doing as soon as we get back from the Mint 400. A couple other parts as we go through the garage. Obviously, we got the axle back over here, and you kind of see these spacers that we're going to be using to space this thing out. It makes the whole rear axle with tires and everything about 90 inches from end of tire to end of tire, and that's a pretty wide track, so not many trailers will fit that. So we'll be doing some modifications later on to our trailer. My little dude's electric bike. We got a video of him putting this thing together, and it rips. It's so much fun. Anyway, cruising around, some of the stuff that we are going to bring to the race. And I find that when you're going to these things, it is much more difficult to be smart and not bring a bunch of stuff because you could always just bring your whole garage. So what do you really need? What tools can work for other things? So we are paring this down as best we can to only bring the tools we need and not just have a bunch of stuff all over the place. I'm a big fan of 20-volt DeWalt stuff, and then just some other odds and ends. We'll be able to do like a full brake job if we had to. We got fuel stuff to be able to mess with that. And then we'll also have a full-on welding rig, and I'll show you that here in a second. We got the winch from Harbor Freight, which we will be putting onto the trailer. And we're huge fans of Harbor Freight. We use that for a lot of stuff, and they've been some of the stuff they have now at Harbor Freight I think is really getting good. Mr. Spreckles, if you haven't seen the video of us using our rail car, literally one of my favorite videos to make. Super cool scenery as we went up to the Goat Canyon Trestle in California. Super awesome. All right, let's go ahead and let's just take a look at Honcho, I guess. Honcho is all ready to go. We put some new stickers on it. Now we're driving on the Milestar, like I said, Patagonia Mud Terrain Black Labels. These are 37 12.5 R17, so slightly smaller than what we're going to be using on Lefty back there. I don't think we can get 40-inch tires under here without running into exhaust and other stuff over there. This thing was designed for a 37-inch tire. Got our King shocks in there all cleaned up and ready to go, and some of those have been rebuilt by Down South Motorsports. Love those guys. They're so awesome. I have a video I'll be talking about how I ordered my stuff with Down South Motorsports, and they just did a great job. Looking inside, some things are different, some things are the same. Let's start over on this side. We're using the pivot cases by Flyboys. Again, I use these at my airline job, the cases that hold the iPads, and they hold them in there solid. We really like those. And then again, we're using iPads. Most people use some kind of like a Lowrance, like a modified fish finder, I call it that. I know it's a lot more high tech than that, but the GPS and those are obviously really good. But these, you know, who doesn't have an iPad sitting around? Half the time these things are used by my little boy to watch videos, and then we pull them out, we throw them in the truck, and we can use them during desert racing. We've never had an iPad fail. We've done this our 4th race, so we'll see how these things do. And what we'll normally do is we'll run this one in, you know, a scale of 1 inch equals about 200 feet, and this one a scale of 1 inch equals 1,000 feet. You can already see we loaded the course in there, and we'll be putting more information on this as we get ready for the race, such that we have like hazards and those kinds of things, expected hazards, and we'll kind of do some study on Google Earth and all that kind of stuff. Our Garmin GPS, we use that for really just satellite communication, where we can send text messages over the Garmin. And then you see back there the PCI race radio. Those things are awesome, just work really great. Some of the other parts in here, you know, where do you get all this stuff? We go to CarTech. We got the seats, seat belts, the blower, and all those kinds of things comes from CarTech. And we work with a guy named Tyler down there, and he is a super cool guy. If you give them a call, if you need anything, talk to Tyler and tell him we sent you. Anyway, like we said, our partner Folds of Honor, I think this is such a cool, to me, a cool look. You got the King shocks, I think, with the Folds of Honor logo. We're so proud to be carrying that on our truck. Inside the cooler in the back is where we keep all of our tools, very limited race recovery stuff. So kind of how we have this thing set up is, if it is something that you're going to be broke for a long time, okay, you got to go in the cooler. But if it's something you just need to get out of kind of quickly, then maybe there's going to be sitting up on top and easy to get to, like our big tracks here. These things never work. You know, maybe sometimes. I think the only time we ever pulled a vehicle out was our Sprinter out of the stand one time with that thing. This Gordita down here, we have our wrapped up drive shaft, and it's got all the hardware taped to the outside. So you take this thing out, unroll it, and all the parts are right there to change your drive shaft. Another thing I do is I make a video to show all the other drivers how to change that, and then we have that video living on the iPad so they can pull it out and see in case they don't know how to do it or something like that. This is our jack, and there's another video of me making this thing, and that jack basically sleeves out of there and then comes over here and sleeves to this little slot on the inside of the door and lifts up the whole side of the vehicle. We carry one spare while we're driving, and that seems to be, you know, pretty good. Last time we actually blew in at about mile 17 at the Baja 1000, so hopefully we can go a little bit further than that. We have a fuel safe 50-gallon fuel tank on Lefty. With the next fuel tank will be a 60-gallon fuel tank. You know, the way that we run our engines, maybe about 400 horsepower, and usually in race conditions, 7 to 8 miles per gallon is what we're getting. So we have plenty of range. We got more range than we got, you know, butt as far as driving this thing. So anyway, I need to plumb the discriminator valve, which I just got done putting in there. And then going back into this side of the truck, you see on the steering wheel, I got the tap up, tap down. That works really well with the 6L90 transmission. And I have a whole video. If you have a 6L90 and you want to figure out how to put tap up, tap down, I show you exactly how to do all of that. On the other iPad in front of the driver, what we're going to be running is split screen. So I have this just a really generic off of the App Store. I got a speedometer which runs off of GPS speed, and then on the other side we split it to where we're running the Gaia GPS, just so the driver, if he wants to look down there, he can kind of see maybe turns are coming up or something like that. Here is our reverse camera. You can turn that off and see out the back, because there's no visibility obviously with our CBR radiator at the back. You can't really see out the back. And then we run one of the Edge CTS engine monitoring systems over here, and that thing's been awesome. Super cheap and works really well. The display is kind of small, but I think it works good enough. I get some complaints, but show me the money. Anyway, there we go. Again, some of our logos over here. Industrial Power in Fort Worth, Texas. Those guys are awesome. They just set up their third store, and it is killer. If you want quality service, the guy who owns it, his name is Brian O'Neill, my buddies from a long time ago. We used to fly jets together. He's one of my mentors. He goes by the call sign Sea Dog, and I'll tell you what, this is one of my best buddies. He taught me how to fly when I was a young lieutenant in the Air Force, and I owe him forever grateful. Cool, we got the lights. We had some issues with the lights at the Baja 1000. I just hardwired those in. I took every plug out I possibly can and just hardwire radios, or hardwire all the lights in there. During the race, we'll be running a GoPro, like you see right there, and that thing is plugged in. It'll be charging off the truck's battery system. Hopefully we should be able to run it about 5 hours off of each of the CF cards. And then also we'll be pulling audio from the headset, so you might be able to hear us talking. I'll try to get the entire 100 miles of the race course on video out as soon as we can for that. Looking over here, we got some fuel. Yeah, like I said, Honcho carries 50 gallons of fuel at about 7 to 8 miles per gallon, maybe a little bit less because we're going to be running higher RPMs this time with a tap up, tap down. So we'll bring 2 fuel cans, and we plan to fuel at one time. We should be able to make it through the entire race. Over here we got some fire extinguishers and then a fuel mat to catch fuel when we're refueling it. Besides that, I got a small little compressor. Just don't have to bring a big one out there. This is my 2007 Toyota Tacoma, 140,000 miles, and this thing just a machine. I'd love to have a much nicer and newer truck, but it is, when you go to Mexico, it's nice to have a truck that you can beat up on. In the back, we'll be putting all the stuff back here. We're running a generator and also a welder we'll be bringing, so we'll have the capability to do some field fixes out there. And I just got done testing this thing. I'll tell you what, that generator with this Miller welder do a pretty good job up to about 1/8 inch steel. I didn't really test it much more than that. But the reason we're bringing the Miller as opposed to our Harbor Freight welder this time is because this Miller is the passport, and it runs off of paintball bottles to get your CO2, so everything is contained inside and you're still welding off of gas. Looking over here, the old trailer I got, I'll probably be upgrading this thing, especially as we go to Lefty. We'll need to get a wider trailer, but this thing does good for Honcho. A couple spare tires there. This whole race is all about spare tires. Desert racing is in general. We got 3 more of the Patagonia mud terrains, and you know, I'm guessing we probably won't go through many of these. We've been testing these on Honcho, and they're really super durable. And I know they run these things in the King of the Hammers also, so high expectations for the Milestar Patagonia mud terrains. This here, if you've been watching our videos, you know this is Bob, our Baja Overland build. Got the battery on the front, and if you've seen us do the electrical for this thing, I think it worked out pretty well. The whole top telescopes, we're running a CVT tent on the top, some kind of an awning. I can never remember what it's called over here. And then at the race, we're going to also be powering off of that big battery on the back, and the solar is the New Air 80 quart cooler, and we'll be also bringing the New Air 48 quart cooler. Right now we're using this solar, which goes with Bob, but we will also be bringing the New Air solar, which allows this thing to basically freeze stuff during the day, just with a little battery that goes right in the side. It really works well, and I got a whole bunch of videos of us using New Air stuff, which we love. Anyway, we'll get this thing loaded up, and we'll be hitting the road tomorrow morning super early, hoping to get to Vegas because we got a parade to be in. Anyway, there is all the stuff we got. If you are in Vegas, I sure hope that you'll come up and say hello, because we'd like to meet everybody out there. No time for love, Dr. Jones. We got to get this truck out the door early tomorrow morning so we can be in Vegas by noon. We're going to be doing a parade right down Las Vegas Boulevard, driving Honcho with a bunch of other amazing trucks. The next day, on Thursday, we will actually be in tech inspection with the display next to the Folds of Honor Military Challenge tent. If you're out there and if you've seen this before, please come up and say hello. We would love to meet all of you. Again, one last time, please consider hitting a like and subscribe, leaving a comment. Also, in the description below, there is a link for the auction where you could have the very cool mini Honcho trophy truck, which I kind of hope I win, or the Mint 400 commemorative Losi trophy truck. It's going to be so awesome. Anyway, can't wait to see you tomorrow, live streaming from the parade. Take care of yourself.